to Magical Movement Company. I'm Carolyn. You've just joined my little mini course called Musically Montessori. So let's get on to really looking at the rationale, seeing what your reasons are for offering music as part of your curriculum in your Montessori preschool environment. Rationale, that's very familiar to us Montessori educators. We all know that Montessori valued music education enough to create the wonderful program that goes along with the Montessori brass bells. When you're coming up with your rationale, we've seen so many studies over the past 10, 20 years that point to the cognitive benefits of early music experiences for children. I think sometimes people might misconstrue that, thinking that playing Mozart music will raise the IQ of your baby and those kind of things. It's definitely going to have an influence on children's abilities. I think that the important part of music for young children is the making of music, doing it, and the concepts that you can interweave with the actions and the actual concrete experiences that the children are having. The musical experience benefits just about every part of the cognitive development of a child. We're going to use the large motor in a large way when we do movement. Some of the musical instruments that you use, oftentimes children will be moving up and down, sitting up and down when it comes to playing little games with high and low. Seeds growing out of the ground and growing up higher as we sing up the scale, those kinds of things. The small motor also, when we're using the rhythm instruments, I see so much hand-eye coordination and dexterity that's involved, and the children really gain a lot of experience with that and a lot of practice with that, and their skills develop. There's the sensorial part of music, of course. We're hearing it, we're feeling the vibrations. There's so much involved with music. It's one of our basic parts of life, really. Music is celebrated all over the world for all kinds of reasons, but you'll find music. Montessori writes about that, the importance of music and the cultural connection, and how we have that all over the world. Which brings me to cultural experiences. Music is definitely can be brought into your cultural studies area. Of course, you can have focusing on the music of the particular continent or country that you're studying about. Children really enjoy that, seeing the unusual instruments. I always invite families in for that portion of my yearly curriculum when I'm exploring all the different continents. The children love to have families come in and share their family heritage with the group, and of course a lot of that could involve music. I love to have parents and siblings and even grandparents, extended family, share little songs that maybe they sang when they were children in their home language and from the cultural background that they are from. So that's a nice way to have cultural experiences through music. There is so much with mathematical abilities that develop with musicians. There is of course, the rhythmical part of music, the counting of the beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's the rhythm and the patterns that you discover in music, especially the rhythmical patterns. Our children do a lot of rhythm patterns, either by echo rhythms, and also playing on the instruments, and they are really excited when they discover that there's a pattern and that we're repeating the pattern. So they are making those connections a lot of times already without my even bringing it up. So there's also the the mathematical part of the notation. There's the half note, there's the quarter note, there's the eighth note. All of those things which influence the beat of and the count of that particular note and how the music's going to sound, the rhythmical part of the music. So those things are mathematically based. There's the definitely the fun part of just exploring the instruments, just playing them, and even exploring what your voice can do, and playful ways to use the voice. The scientific part of music is really intriguing for children. Like, how do we get those sounds? How do the vibrations happen? What's going on with our voices when we close our mouth and feel that vibration going across our closed mouth when we're humming? How does that happen? And the ear, and how that picks up the sound, and even your body feeling the vibrations. All of those scientific look at music is really fun. There's the historical aspect of music. You can always bring in some of the composers, especially Mozart's a great one for children. If you're not going to introduce very many, I would recommend Mozart for sure, because he was a well-known child prodigy, and sometimes the children know some of Mozart's music. It's quite familiar, actually. And in case you didn't know, Mozart created a piece for his mother that is based on a French childhood nursery rhyme, and it's turned into our melody of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Of course, Mozart, at the age of maybe 8 or so, put that together on a beautiful piano piece. That's a lovely thing to share with children, because they'll recognize the melody right away. So there are historical parts of music, geographical, cultural, mathematical. One of the biggest parts of music that I think people, especially if you're trying to explain to parents why you are doing so much music with the children, the language benefits are multiple. Children definitely have vocabulary development through music. For example, there's a song about a little squirrel went scampering. There's another song about the old gray cat is sleeping, sleeping, sleeping. And in the course of that song, the little mice are doing their little activities, and when the cat wakes up, the mice go scampering. And of course, many children know what scampering is, but I've always been very surprised at how many children don't know what the word scampering is. I mean, that's just a small example of all the vocabulary that can be acquired through songs. So many songs have interesting, especially nursery songs, have interesting descriptive words for things that are happening in the song. Plus, not to mention the vocabulary of just music notation. The Montessori children love to hear the real terms, forte and piano, presto and largo, those kinds of things that are musical terms, even to the point where you can be introducing things like the treble clef, the bass clef, even the staff, the musical staff, the notes, of course, quarter note, half note, eighth note, the quarter rest. Those kinds of vocabulary words are really fun for children to explore, especially because you're going to have concrete experiences along with those terms, which always enhances the learning that's happening. Vocabulary is one of the aspects of the language that the language arts that children experience through musical activities. They also, get the cadence of language, and sometimes you'll be teaching children songs in another language, many different languages, especially if you have parents bring in the songs from their childhood, or especially if you have lots of children who speak a certain language. We can always apply Montessori to our language experiences with children. We can always give shelf works that have parts of the violin, or even just a booklet of the rhythm instruments that we're using in the classroom. That's another vocabulary that they are acquiring through actual hands-on experiences. They might already know about sticks, but do they know about castanets? And do they know about finger cymbals? And how about maracas? Do they use that terminology? That's definitely what I give them when we are having those instruments to explore. In your classroom, you're going to be offering all kinds of shelf works, and musical shelf works are really a great way to reinforce what you've introduced. I have to say that most of the time, musical experiences are offered in a group setting. Music lends itself very well to playing with other people, singing with other people. So probably one of the first experiences each of the children will have with a certain concept or a certain cultural type of music is in the group setting at your circle times. But then there are lots of things you can put on the shelves that reinforce those concepts that you've been doing at circle. So we will start to look at most of these ideas through a circle time activity that we should do together. I would love for you to participate on your end. So our next fun part of this little e-course is let's go ahead and do this. Let's have a little circle. And for you to participate with me, we'll give you that muscle memory. Muscle memory is a really important part of music. That's why musicians practice. They practice the scales. They practice the fingering of whatever instrument they're doing. A lot of practice is involved in being a musician. And the part that we will be working with here as a little mini music circle, if you're doing it, you are relaying these messages to your brain and to your body, and it'll stick much better than if you just observe. And then you'll have a little bit more practice for when you're ready to present your own music classes to your little ones.